cowboy Toby singing, jukebox ringing, and I could have tried it.
That, my friends, is the sounds of Shoulda, Woulda, Coulda from that guy right there, Mr. Mike Archer. And what do you think, man? Here we are. We're finally here.
It's about time. That's all I'm saying. It's about time.
So a little bit about what we're trying to do and why we think we should be doing this. One of my favorite sayings is, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Where did you get that? Where does that come from?
I don't know.
I mean, it's a great quote. I want to know who you're.
It's funny because I looked it up on the internet, and there's no real. You get several different people that have used it.
We'll give it to anonymous then.
Yeah, anonymous is pretty much true, but I love it. So again, this is the perfect example. Just because we can, but here we are.
So why should we?
Well, everybody's doing it for one, and I've got my reasons and story to tell, and I'm sure you have yours. But first of all, thanks if you've made it this far. I appreciate it. It's your choice, it's your time, and the fact that you're still listening to us is pretty cool. Thank you. So why are we doing this? What are we doing? Well, first of all, we're from the Central Kentucky area. That's Mike Archer. I'm Jeff Jacobs, and this is something that we both thought about doing for a long time. And all of a sudden, here we are.
Yeah.
So.
Well, with the pandemic, I'm a working musician, and when the pandemic hit, Zoom meetings became very, very popular. Of course, all kinds of internet concerts and live streams. Yeah. And Jeff actually shot 2 music videos for me, one each off of my 2 CDs. And I gave Jeff a call. I was driving. That's when I do my best thinking. And I thought, I think between the two of us, we might be able to do something pretty interesting and certainly entertaining. And so Jeff mentioned, you mentioned to me in so many words that you had a thought very, very similar. And yada, 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 as Seinfeld would say, here we are.
I guess who better to do it than a production guy who really has spent, I've been doing this 35 years, mostly behind the camera, behind the microphone, hooking stuff up, making things happen. And an entertainer is a great front man. And I will say this, about, real quick, 8 years ago, I went to sit with a buddy of mine who was doing high school football down in Middlesboro, Kentucky, Mr. Brian Stewart, dear friend. We've been friends since high school. And he'd been inviting me down for years. And obviously I thought, high school football and being on the radio, that sounds really cool. So I finally went down there, and of all places where I went to the first game was at Danville.
Oh, kid.
But anyway, we've got a lot of the people that are going to help us on this program are from Danville, but we'll get to that. But anyway, he invited me down. I went down, and I got up in the booth, and the cheerleaders were jumping up and down, and the band was playing, and then the players ran out on the field, and the national anthem came on, and the hair stood on the back of my neck. And then, in about the second quarter, he said, "Slip the headphones on." And then I heard the sound of my own voice, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I could get used to this. And I never quit coming. And the guy on the radio station then was like, who is this guy? Is he going to come back every week? And Brian's all, yeah. And he said, well, I'm not paying him. So that first year or so, I did not pay. I was doing it, traveling around with Brian doing the Games for Love. And, part of me likes a little bit of the limelight, but I want to be over here and let, you and some of the other folks kind of handle the show. But I think it's important, again, we establish who we are and why we think we can do this, and really why we think we can do it pretty well. And that goes back again to the radio station. Brian O'Brien, who owns it, was taking his Facebook page and really doing the community-based type of programming that we've all got away from. Everything's so big and national news. I'm done with that. I want good local stories. The way the community reacted, he had open band night on Thursday nights where local artists would come in and they would play. Great exposure for them. I know that's something that you're going to talk about that you want to do when we do some live stuff down the road here. And the high school sports was huge. And I know everybody's doing high school sports. We're going to do it. And we're going to partner with some schools and not only academics. We want to include academics along with athletics. But I think we're going to be able to do it really well, and hopefully we can showcase the school and provide that opportunities to local advertisers to target market. There's nothing better in high school sports. Seeing the community aspect of what he had built to the Facebook page, and I know he was a radio station. He had that avenue to push it, but I really liked what he was doing, and that's something that I really wanted to do. And then you called me out of the blue one day and said, hey,
Right. Well, my philosophy of this, now, first of all, the background is, my name's Mike Archer. Good to meet you. Working musician, been traveling for quite some time now, trying to do that. I had a morning radio show and country morning radio show down in Danville, WKYB, which I think is no longer there. And I think it's directly related to me quitting. But anyway, that's beside the point. And also, look, I'm a huge trivia fan. I love trivia. And I started hosting trivia on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays, days that, typically you don't get a whole lot of live music. And I've been to several trivia, I guess, shows, if you want to call it that, here in Lexington. Look, man, any kid, that can read could get up there and ask a question. So my thing was make it entertaining, and by golly, it worked. And so regardless of what we do, when I have my radio show, make it entertaining. I've been told a million times, Jeff, that radio's dying. And I think the reason it's dying is it's become more corporate, and it's less entertaining, and it's less involved in the local scene. Would you agree with that?
That's what I think. Again, it goes back to watching Brian O'Brien at 106.3, and a very good friend of mine that I learned so much from too, just from the aspect of marketing and what he was doing. That's exactly what he was doing. I mean, the community really responded to the local input of the station and what he was trying to do for Main Street, which is, Main Street TV. When you hear about Main Street media, you kind of think, Main Street media, it's a negative connotation. This was really based upon exactly what I'm talking about, is bringing, a little bit of fun back to the Main Street of America. And that sounds really hokey, but
no, it doesn't.
We'll roll with it. Edit, no. But, I mean, again, that's what people crave. I mean, we've had enough of that. I love the evening news, okay? Mm-hmm. It's 25 minutes of gloom and doom that I put myself through every night, and it's all ratings, it's just awful. And then what I love is at the last 5 minutes, Lester will come on and go, but I got a great story for you. It's going to make you feel good. It's about kids, fire trucks, and candy. And that's supposed to make me feel better after 25 minutes of gloom and doom, is that, I'm going to hear a little story about kids, candy, and fire trucks at the end and make me feel that it's all good in the world. And, I think we need more of the kids, candy, and fire truck stories, and that's some of the stuff we're going to do. We're just going to have some fun here.
Entertaining. And by the way, it's interesting that we should be Main Street Media TV, because I used to play music on cruise ships, Disney Cruise Lines. And one of the things that I did not realize, but in different countries, they are very, very aware of how many, if not all, of our small cities period, have a main street.
Yeah.
And in fact, I remember one gal from Eastern Europe, she said something to the effect of, do you have a main street where you live? And I was like, I actually live on Main Street.
You did?
I did. I moved since, but at that time I did live on Main Street. So yeah, how about that?
I don't want to offend anybody. I'm a sucker for a small town, and your definition for a small town can be a lot of things. And I love Lexington, and I mean I consider it in many ways it is a small town still in many ways comparatively to where a lot of things are. But I really enjoyed my time down in Bell County and Middlesboro and learned so much, and was fortunate enough to do a lot of television work in the counties and doing the Kentucky Live series. So I love that kind of stuff, and that's what we want to do. We want to get out. We want to try to visit with people. Eventually, we're going to have a lot of people in the studio right now because that's what we're kind of geared up to do right now. And it's going to be kind of fun stories. And we got some great people from the area that have said, you know what, we'd love to help you out.
Are we allowed to mention names?
Yeah, I think so. Absolutely.
Well, of course, you're contact with Maria Montgomery. She is from Danville.
She is, and there's kind of a South Central theme going on, and I actually lived in Garrett County for 5 years, and just love it down there. I love the Danville area. Mm-hmm. But Maria Montgomery, former Miss Kentucky, but really more than anything, she's a successful model and does so many other things, and works obviously in the media business too and stuff like that. I love people that. I mean, she makes a living being a model. Mm-hmm. That's pretty impressive.
Especially in this area.
That's impressive. That tells you right now, okay, she's got it going on. She's great, and she's agreed to do some things with us. And, trying to talk her into having her own video podcast. And they think we can
we're working on it.
We can steal a little time away from her. She's going to contribute. And, of course, we kind of got the sports side covered.
Yeah, with Larry Vaughn.
Larry Vaughn, a buddy of yours, has agreed to allow us to to throw his name around, and I want to get. He's going to come up here and do some stuff with us, and like to see how we can get him to contribute.
Well, the guy's been covering Kentucky sports, not just University of Kentucky, but also Central Kentucky sports for
exactly
probably more years than he would like me to say, and he's got a lot to offer. The thing about Larry is he's probably forgotten more about local sports than I'll ever know.
I can't
or
wait.
You either.
Yeah, I can't wait to get him up here. And really, I mean, I that's what I want to know. I want to know a little bit about how much it's changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to hear the backstory.
Oh, and you want to talk because he's my running buddy, and so when we're running, a lot of times we'll talk. And he's got some great stories about things that happen in press conferences or dealings with players, whether it be collegiate or otherwise. Also, if I may interrupt this thought, being a local musician, I want to kind of showcase local musicians, some of the venues, things of that nature, so that we can look every success story out of Nashville or L.A. or New York or whatever. They started at local levels. And we don't give enough attention to that, in my opinion. So hopefully we can rectify that, at least in the Central Kentucky area.
It's not easy.
No.
You know, and again, you know, and my hat's off to you. You're a guy who pays his bills basically because of his musical talent. That's pretty cool. It's not an easy thing to do. And I think some of the stories, especially through the pandemic, which has been really rough. And
it's been very rough.
And we're going to get into all that, too, when we have a couple of our guests on and we talk a little bit about the music interest. And I think it'd be some really interesting insight because and it ain't easy. Not everybody makes it. But here's how you can do maybe help supplement your income, pay the bills, make a living at it while you continue to reach for the stars. So
that's absolutely.
Those are the type of things that we're going to do here on the show.
Yeah. So anyway, with that being said, I think that's all we can talk about.
How do you think this is going so far?
What do you mean, just this?
Yeah, how do you think we're doing?
Well, I think I'm great. I think I'm pretty much just carrying you right now.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah. Okay, well, this was kind of a test drive.
I was joking, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I know you are. Yeah,
click
click. Test drive, a shakedown cruise. Kind of get something on the site, let you know that we are working on stuff. And I'm really excited about this, more than they need to know. But we did finally secure some equipment to do some of this live broadcasting, which has been really hard to get because everybody bought it all up. They haven't been able to go back to the factories and make more, and it's become very popular. And like I said, everybody's doing this. We think we can do it. We'll do it well, and I'll go out on a limb and say do it better. So I'm really excited about that, to get that equipment in and get things, because then we're going to start to hit the streets and do some things.
Can I ask you a question it's an open-ended question.
Okay.
And I kind of give our viewers here a little bit of insight.
I think I've given them more insight than they even care.
And not only that, but it's a question, an open-ended question that you, the viewer, can think about yourself, because everybody's going to answer it different. Here's a question. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
How addicted to social media or PDA devices are you?
I like my electronics. I mean, I do, but I mean, I literally just learned how to. I mean, I have fat fingers, so this iPad thing, I'm getting used to it, but it's going to be how we do a lot of things and run some programs that we're going to need. So I've got the iPad set up. I love my electronics.
In your personal life.
Social media, though, a lot of this is new to me.
Okay.
I've always been a Facebooker from the standpoint of marketplace. I liked my clubs that I belong to, my interest type of stuff. I'm not a big socially sharing guy from that aspect. I don't, look at me, here's my pictures, and I went to the dentist today, and I'm happy today, I'm sad today. I don't usually do that type of stuff, and I don't knock it. I know for a lot of people, it's an expression. My daughter's obviously 13, and she's really into it, and I don't want to be, I'm old, but I don't want to be so old that I don't get it. And I do, I understand it. But for me, I'm a little limited, a little challenged. Okay, same for you. What about you?
No. That's not the question. That was just a question trying to lead into the actual question.
Okay, quickly, because this is going along.
Right. So the actual question is, would you give up use of your, personal devices, your iPhone, whatever, for the rest of your life, or have one of your arms cut off?
Oh my gosh. Man, that's way too deep for the first show.
I want to see what your answer is.
Oh my gosh, I could probably do with that. I think I'd rather have my arm because I like to do things, and I think I could do without. Yeah, I'd have to know more stipulations and detail. See, I didn't expect this.
No,
kind of
I know,
stuff.
but I think that's the correct answer. In my opinion, I agree with you. But I wonder if your 13-year-old daughter or somebody else's 13-year-old daughter would say the same thing.
That's what we want to do is have people on the show and have some insight.
Right.
And real average Joe. I consider myself to be the average guy. And I think a lot of us would, I might ask I'm not going to ask the top 10 best news questions to somebody. I want to know that. I want to know this. Tell me about that. That's the kind of stuff that I hope to bring to the table
And see, that
in my
question,
Jeff kind of way.
That question right there gave you a lot of insight to Jeff Jacobs.
There you go. Okay. Well, I think we'll look at this and see whether or not it makes the air or not, or where the edit points are. But appreciate you hanging around. A lot better content than you're seeing now is coming your way. Just hang with us. You're supposed to say something.
Something.